father do not know his real father.
I would prefer my kid's father just die. Just growing up without a father was just whack.
$25 million children are growing up in fatherless homes throughout the United States of America. Is the government behind the deterioration of the American father? Are children being alienated from their fathers by their very own mothers? Or are fathers just walking out of their children's lives with no remorse?
I haven't been treated fairly by society as a father. I'm raising young men and daughters for real. If they would come into your household and see the type of love that your family have.
Oftentimes we don't really think about the significance that fathers have in the lives of children.
The reality is that for some fathers just feel completely beaten down by the system.
The whole system that's involved, the lawyers, the guardian ad litems, the psychologist, it's so widespread of the discrimination against fathers.
The world believes that men don't love their children. If their mother's going around telling about the father, he don't never come around. They gonna believe her, but they don't know that he has been trying to come around, but she has the parental control and power and the custody to keep that child from that man.
Mothers that force fathers out of the lives of their children are usually mothers that are in pain.
I've observed situations where mothers badmouth the father, talk against the father.
Sure, I got to alienate his affection. I talked bad about his dad. There was one point in time where I didn't even want him to know him.
Women can do a pretty good job of making, a man look bad.
If you take the mother who says, well, he's not in the child's life, and you go find that father and find out why he's not in the child's life, you'll find out you don't want that man to be in the house with his son. You don't want that. That's the biggest destruction of our people right there, is taking the father out of the house.
Research strongly supports that a father's involvement reduces many of the negative social impacts on young people.
My son's father, he want a relationship with him. I don't want my son to be a gangster. Sometimes I regret having a son on the strength that they turn out like that. And it's kind of normal these days. From the sagging to the robbing to the killing to the stealing, you know what I mean? But it's like, you gotta take it one day at a time, and I gotta prepare myself for it.
Who is to blame? Who is to blame?
Wow. You could say society is to blame for the breakdown of the family.
I believe the court system is very much at fault for the amount of fatherlessness. You talk about the legislations, the politics, the government. It's not about family within.
The community is crying. The fathers are crying. Everybody's crying.
You know how important a father is to a child? Children deserve their fathers. It's part of their fundamental rights as a human.
When you're kept from your children, it's like being put in solitary confinement.
Yeah, my son's father, he want a relationship with him.
I have moments where I would sit there and cry because I didn't want to die without my son knowing the truth.
25 million children are growing up in fatherless homes throughout the United States of America. Is the government behind the deterioration of the American father?
I believe the court system is very much at fault for the amount of fatherlessness.
Wow. You could say families are to blame, society is to blame for the breakdown of the family.
You talk about the legislations, the politics, the government. It's not about family within.
Are children being alienated from their fathers by their very own mothers?
I told her plenty of times that I wanted my dad and I needed him.
My mother didn't have any remorse about keeping me away from my father.
My mom constantly bashed my dad.
This thing of her not being forthcoming with my father, it really made me wonder, okay, one, do you really love me?
Or are fathers just walking out of their children's lives with no remorse?
So some fathers have given up. Some fathers feel like they're fighting Goliath.
The reality is that for some fathers just feel completely beaten down by the system.
Not all men have walked away remorsefully. I think in some cases, like I spoke earlier, I think some men just get tired, and I think they walk away from the drama. I don't think they necessarily walk away from that child.
fatherlessness affects the whole community.
If we go outside right now into the city of Atlanta, you would see most of these boys committing these crimes don't have fathers in their lives.
I see a lot of hurt children acting out the grief of not having a dad in their life.
I believe statistically the presence of a father will help keep bad statistics down, teen pregnancy, violence, drugs, all that.
A father's fight is saying that men are not running away from their children. It's saying that men want to be involved with their children. It's saying that fathers in generally love their children.
As long as the hunter tells the story, the lion doesn't have a